Hey, hi, hello, welcome back, Alexandrian Codex. I almost called it Guarana. This is not Guarana. This is... It doesn't even start with the G. This is chamomile tea. God, am I okay? I'd love some Guarana right now, but that ain't what this is. OFN Summit, South Africa. Our armies have been able to hold off the enemy just in time for an emergency summit to start. Thankfully, representatives from South Africa will be attending. With the summit, our leaders will plan a course for this war and discuss future South African participation. Once we finish, we'll wreak havoc on all enemies of South Africa. Their freedom will be secure. That's right, bitch. That's right, get stomped on. Get stomped on. Hey, can you just fucking kill this thing I encircled for you? No, you can't, because you're a bunch of bitches. Okay, tell you what, I'm gonna fly over here, and then I'm gonna turn around and fly back here. Help. 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 No? Alright. That's cool. You moved into where they're moving, so it's not as eminently necessary, but sure would be nice if you helped me encircle these so you actually had more of a fighting chance. Alright, let's go to speed 4. Algerian crisis diffused. Despite raising tensions between Italy and Algeria, seems like a war has been narrowly avoided, as representatives from both countries met in a peace conference in Palma de Mallorca. There's a new plan drafted to create a joint occupation regime in North African country, effectively turning it into an Italian Iberian condominium. As Misali Haj, known campaigner for peace in Algeria, is its nominal head. Despite being painted as a way to preserve peace, the Algerian mandate is a very controversial solution to the crisis, as many in the LFN consider it a thinly veiled act of imperialism, and Pied Noir and other European settlers lament the new mandate will not protect them from native terrorism. Still, the peace seems to hold on for now, most likely kept together by lucrative oil deals that have just been approved between Iberia and Italy. What was that about a Polish autonomous Soviet state? Hold on. Excuse you? No, I saw the words Polish autonomous. Don't you lie to me. I know what I saw. Maybe I don't know what I just saw. Old man Alex is finally losing it. My years are catching up to me. The Forgotten Allies. The Old Entente, assuming, yeah, we read this already. Alright, it is 1964, so getting these better guns is not over time. Can I just swoop in and crush this? There we go. There we go. Wait, South African Summit. The long-awaited date of the American called Summit on Policing Action in South Africa has arrived. The United States delegate gave a rather spirited speech on the necessity for the OFN to come together for this battle, lest the organization begin to fall to the wayside. Points were made that the Unity Pact's lack of cooperation leading to the sudden death of Germany, and Japan could never rely on unified multinational military response like only the OFN could organize. A hint of fear was pushed as well, with American delegates attempting to make a point that failure to answer this threat would lead to coming threats coming to the members of the OFN. While McNamara's speech received applause by Deputy Secretary Stryker, and other representatives of various governments in exile, and some smaller approval from Canada and Australia's delegates, others seem hesitant. The most telling response came from the representatives from the West Indies, Iceland, and Guyana, all of whom already voiced their disagreement with the war and their involvement. President Thorbergsson of Iceland, nation's first after the end of the US military occupation last year with the death of General Melroy Jr., known for his fiery nationalist views, led the resistance to the proposal, arguing that the various puppet states to America had never had an interest in American adventures, decrying they would never allow blood to die on foreign soil. His own speech led to another round of applause from many other delegates. The decision will ultimately be up to vote, while many wait with bated breath on whether the OFN will prove itself its alliance of steel or one of paper. We vote for victory. Victory! Victory. Gotta get one of them Victories. Tory Vic. Bam, okay. That's like 2 divisions taken out of the war, but it's something. I could probably get... Wonder if I could punch through here. There's... Oh, right. This. Nobody's...
Move out!
Okay, I'm going over there. Nobody seems to be here. So I'm just gonna swoop in and take this. That's nice. We'll wait for organization to come back, and then I can punch out, maybe. How we doing on those volunteers, Bubby? Still not manifesting. Okay. All right. I'm patient. I can wait. I thought they were already victorious, but here they are Oh, they beat, Cornwall. Cornwall, yes. I'm like, this place here. Her Majesty's most loyal resistance have announced their triumph over the collaborationist government of Alec Douglas Home and the German garrison of Cornwall. Sweeping across England from victory to victory under the leadership of Claude Auchinleck, the free English government intends to restore democracy so cruelly ended by the Reich decades ago. Rumored to be supported by the Organization of Free Nations, this represents an undeniable defeat for German interests in Northern Europe. Though whether the loose alliance of revolutionaries made up the HMMLR can work together in peacetime remains to be seen. Hell yeah, welcome to democracy, my dude. Let me send you volunteers. I want to send more troops. Let me send more troops. Please. I really don't like this Sitzkrieg. I want to move.
Move out.
Move up there, move back. Ooh. Hey, South Africa, you want to help me hold this? Pretty please? I mean, you're moving to it, but you're gonna be late to the party. You're not gonna get here in time. It was a bad gamble. Well, now you look foolish. you could have had it for free, but you just had to let it go, didn't you?
Move out.
Oops. Oh no, did somebody just swoop in and start fucking with things? That's terrible. Terrible.
Move out.
Presidium of the Supreme Soviet.
Fall back.
Hello? Presidium of the Supreme Soviet. Where, pray tell, would that be? Hello? Here's the Order of St. George. Here's the Western Russian Revolutionary Front. Supreme Soviet, though? You know, it doesn't matter. If they actually win a lot of wars, then we can come hunt down where the fuck they are over here. But that's just a wall. It's just a big old wall. Seriously, I'd love to send more troops. Wallace F. Bennett was a patient man, but even he was beginning to grow frustrated. It's really quite simple, Mr. Johnson. American currency is over-reliant on the silver standard. What I'm proposing is not at all radical. All the Silver Act suggests is we reduce reliance both within federal budget and the private sector. This was perhaps the third time he had explained this simple concept to the assembled senators. Many were listening intently. But Lyndon B. Johnson had chosen to enact his characteristic bullish persona to derail the discussion. And I also say it's pretty simple. You're wasting time arguing over which metal we base our currency on. Last I checked, America was still an economic giant by all accounts. I really fail to see the merit of this passion project of yours. Johnson scoffed as he leaned informally against his desk. Bennett felt his blood pressure steadily rise at the lack of respect. You can be so much stronger, though, Mr. Johnson. Myself and my colleagues have done much research into the matter. We haven't even begun to get into the hard data. Allow me to show you the charts. I'll gladly look at your graphs, Mr. Bennett, but given the times we live in, I'll say that silver's a rather small thing to get it worked up over. Johnson chuckled idly as Bennett launched into more discussion, clearly not listening. Belittling as always, thought Bennett. Johnson was supposed to be his ally. Republicans and Democrats were supposed to be allies, yet even the center and right NPP seem to have a better and more equal relationship than the two sides of the party these days. As a Democrat, Bennett felt increasingly sidelined. That'd have to change, he decided then and there. After the ultimately fruitless discussion came to a close, the two men passed each other as the senators left for lunch. Bennett fixed Johnson with the steeliest gaze his mild-mannered persona could muster. Something's gotta change, Johnson. Now I'm gonna be the one to do it. Something's gotta give. Yeah, okay, Wallace. You tell him, buddy. You tell him.
Move out!
Hello. Is this an encirclement I see? It is! You stupid shits. Well, okay, that's one less division to worry about. Can I encircle over this? That'd be a stretch. But I could try.
Move out!
Fuck it. Nope. Didn't work. Alright. I tried. Did it pan out? Absolutely not. Presidential election season has begun. The primaries are concluded. Conventions are over. The battle between the chosen candidates of the Republican Democrats and the National Progressive Party will begin in earnest. While every electoral race, from county commissioner to state judges to the Senate in Washington, is important, none of them can compare to the drama, the pageantry, and the scale of the presidential race that spans the entire country. Unlike many nations in the world where leaders are determined behind closed doors or in bloody coups and civil wars, every 4 years the citizens of America get to change the course of their nation in a peaceful transition that goes right back to George Washington in 1789. Many important issues of the day will be debated, from taxes to foreign policy, infrastructure, welfare, but more and more, the personality of the candidate is what's important. Who's a charmer? Who's more charismatic? Who's the one that makes the voter truly feel that they hear them, and they will fight for them? The polls, televised debates, newspaper interviews, and speeches around the nation will help the undecided make their choices, and reinforce the partisans in theirs. The race has begun. Yeah. Democracy, I'm not sure you know what electoral college means. These are mildly incompatible. Right, so how's the race looking? West Coast, we have Oregon and Washington. We got Montana, Minnesota, Indiana, Michigan, and Ohio. We don't have Illinois, but we have a great hold in the Great Lakes. Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi. We have Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey. Okay, great. Vermont's currently a toss-up. We got Connecticut, Maine, Massachusetts, Rhode Island. I could press for New England, but I don't really want to. I could win 38 more votes in the Great Lakes, or I can press for the West Coast. And you know what? I'm gonna press for California. Let's give California a try. Right, California is the one I should have gone for. Right? I haven't internalized the electoral college at this point. Yeah, it's deep south or West Coast. And yeah, surprise, surprise, I prefer the West Coast. Nice airfield you have there. It'd be a real shame if somebody just swooped in and took it. Cooling down. Embers have turned to ashes in the North's largest cities. In Chicago, firefighters ended the last of the blazes that consumed the west side, and the mayor suspended the curfew. Washington, D.C., over $15 million in property damage had been accounted for, but order has largely been restored. Baltimore, where citizens' anger might have burned the hottest, has concluded its extraordinary use of heavy-armed federal troops. The protests and riots that broke out over President Nixon's use of the veto against the civil rights legislation are slowly starting to die down, as a combination of apathy and repression slows their inertia. As the dust settles, historians and political scientists are examining the possibility this outpouring of discontent marks the greatest social upheaval since the Civil War. Even as violence in the streets is decreasing, rhetorical violence is increasing. Many civil rights moderates are outraged, but are afraid of being tied to the riots by future electoral opponents. A broader swath of opposition, from liberal Republicans to the MPP left, are decrying Nixon as a tyrant envisioned by the founders. An open letter signed by a bevy of top academics castigated the Republican Party for falling in line with segregationists, and cast the veto as an ugly vow of an unholy union between the R and the D. All signatories promised to leave the party and encourage others to do so as well. It's clear that the veto of the Civil Rights Act has hardened its proponents and divided the country even further. Northern riots is replaced with Northern fury, worsening production, but increasing stability and political power change. Yeah, it's something. Social democracy becomes more popular, and the NCC or NPP center becomes more popular. Yeah. It's kind of a depressing insight into the way the American electoral system works that I have to focus on like 3 states to win every presidential election. But hey, that's politics, baby. The Pearl Harbor Monument. Previous 2 decades have been rough on the United States of America. Being on the losing end of the Second World War, giving up key ports in California to the enemy, watching Europe and Russia fall to the jackboot. Utterly powerless. Worst of all, our own red-blooded Americans struck by the most powerful weapon the world had ever seen. 20 years ago today, Pearl Harbor was destroyed. Wiped from the face of the earth by the atomic bomb. December 7th, 1941 was another devastating day as 2,000 lives were lost upon America's entry into the war. The base was the place of death for tens of thousands of brave men and women who gave their lives for freedom's cause. The construction of the Pearl Harbor Monument in Washington, D.C. lasted 3 years. And opening day has finally arrived. Thousands flocked to the Capitol to view statues of soldiers raising the American flag, replicas of American battleships, and the centerpiece of the monument, a large peace fountain, contained the names of every soldier known to have died in the Pearl Harbor attacks. Gardens were planted in the honors of fallen soldiers, and it quickly became a sight of mourning throughout the area. Flowers left at the base of the fountain, coins littered the fountain floor, and for Americans who had no flowers to give, coins to donate, they gave the utmost respect for fallen soldiers who perished in the face of destruction. Even a handful of exceptionally patriotic Americans claimed that America would have her vengeance. No matter one's beliefs, tonight is a night of remembrance. Yeah. Imagine a world where small states actually swing on a regular basis. No. No. We have swing states that don't swing, who decide every election because that's democracy, baby. Today, the Department of Justice have announced that they're officially launching a federal investigation of the wiretapping accusations, seeking to determine whether or not the claims are legitimate, and whether President Nixon was involved. Support was nearly unanimous from the National Progressive Party's politicians and constituents, as well as some of the president's more vocal critics within the Republican Democrat Party. Even the president has publicly praised the investigation, swearing up and down that it will exonerate him of the malicious and ill-founded rumors that had been haunting him for months. Privately, however, it is another story. The moment he got to his private office in room 180, he slammed the door behind him and vented to his staffers about the investigation was a shame, a farce, a conspiracy to destroy everything that he had accomplished. No group was safe from his invective. National Progressive Party, dirty traitors, and the Republican Democrats, wiretappers for leaving so much evidence, J. Edgar Hoover for being sloppy and burying the evidence, alleged conspirators in the FBI and White House, and everyone who ever wronged him in his presidential career. Epitaphs like, "I'm not reading that," were evoked multiple times, In the end, he made everyone in the office swear not to breathe a word of it to a living soul. You really didn't have to include this. You don't have to have... If Nixon did have a propensity to use anti-Semitic language, you do not have to use that anti-Semitic language in your representation of Nixon. Right? Just because somebody would have dropped a hard N-word does not mean you should throw that in there. Right? Same rule goes here. Yeah, I mean, you could have used worse words here, but you should have just not gone that direction at all. Because you got to write the narrative here, so no. Iberia offers assistance in South Africa. This afternoon, Iberian ambassador in Washington, D.C. met with the president. Iberian ambassador, in a move that shocked many in our administration, has pledged the direct support of Iberia in the South African War. The ambassador claimed that should the United States accept the offer of Iberian support in the conflict, Iberia is prepared to contribute significant and direct military combat support. Although wholly unexpected, the news has been welcomed by many in Washington. Previously, many Americans felt alienated within the conflict. It's been widely viewed as if we were standing alone. The scale of the Iberian support has yet to be confirmed. We've affirmed the Iberian ambassador that we will accept their support without question. Furthermore, our military is poised to provide any aid possible to Iberians assisting in the commencement of their operations. We'll take all the help that we can get. Make a mod that drops bitch-ass crackers every few sentences. Yeah, that's... but it's not me saying hurtful things, it's this character I'm portraying. I would never say something of the sort. Uh-huh. Sure, I believe you. Definitely. Hey, y'all gonna help, or... No, I'm just gonna sit there and watch. That's cool.
Move out!
You fucks wanna...
Move out!
You know, move on up? No? Just gonna let the Americans do the heavy lifting? That's fine. What's new? Fallen Domino, helping out a friend. Norwegian resistance. Let's just talk to the English. Shared heritage, inseparable economic ties, and a common purpose forged in the Great War's fiery baptisms has created a special relationship between Uncle Sam and Fair Britannia. Theirs is a bond inadequately explained. We're only one to examine small parcels of both their histories, whether as erstwhile colony and overlord, adversaries on the world stage, or as allies against fascist menace. Though Britain's wooden wall had broken before the Reich's assailments and made puppets of the free men, America's heart and mind still yearns to wrest their freedoms back. Luckily, a force which can effect such exists in Her Majesty's most loyal resistance. President Nixon pledges to uphold this special relationship both before and when America's other plays its hand. Oh no, Klerksdorp! Can I please send you more volunteers now? Now, I know this is saying maximum total is limited 1 based on your number of divisions. It's a lie. Eventually, and I don't know what the trigger is, I can send more. Not right now, but eventually. And I have no fucking clue what what it is. Maybe it's expand ground operations? It could be expand. You know what? Let's save up for expand ground operations or greatly expand ground operations. Maybe it's that, and if it's that, I'm gonna feel stupid for not picking it earlier. Hey, South Africans. Hey, reinforce this. Thank you kindly. I'm just fighting the war for you. It's going a lot more slowly than I would like.
Move out! Move out!
Artillery barrage, delightful. Let's pivot back to this. Get better anti-tank weapons.
Taking cover.
Hey, reinforce me. All right, I don't need your reinforcement because I'm digging in. Get fricked, Boers, get fricked. Better infantry weapons. Hell yeah, my dude. Hell yes. How we doing on artillery? That's ahead of time. Sweet, so we can focus on land doctrines. Organic units. Let's pop that out. Hey, sweet.
Move out!
Can I go push them out of Johannesburg? I can. They're getting reinforced. Can I beat both of them? Maybe. I'm gonna try. Yeah, we can. Sweet. And from here I can grab Pretoria, and that should be enough to make you capitulate. It wasn't? No, fuck
Move
off.
out!
There we go. I'm like, that should have been enough to make you capitulate. Sweet. The Boers are out of the war. More importantly, their soldiers are out of the war. Now I could try and rush and knock out Reichskommissariat Ost Africa, but they're really the largest. I think I want to switch over to Southwest Africa. Work our way up the coast here, then around here, then back down here. That's the way I've done it in the past, and it's worked out pretty okay so far. Wow, normally they try to make a naval landing in Cape Town, but not today, it seems.
Move out!
Hey, can I send you more volunteers yet? Nope. Battle of Johannesburg. Newly christened Johannesburg, formerly Johannesburg. Whatever. When the city was still a part of South African Federation, has been captured by advancing federal troops. Listen, we've seen this kind of text before. I'm gonna save my voice and just not.
Move out!
Go here and then go here. Oop, oop. Join in the defense here, it looks like. They're not attacking. Looks like they're encircled and defending. No, they were attacking. Oh, goddamn. Solid MPP campaign. Delightful. I'm gonna see if I can push in here. Initial success. See if they reinforce. We need more rubber. Our convoys from South Africa aren't making it through. Tell you what, let's grab some more from Liberia. That'll do. Nope. Shit, they are making a landing down by Cape Town. I knew they'd try it. The AI tries this at least once or twice. It's a good move. Honestly, it's a great move, trying to snipe the capital. But not on my watch. Down the tubes. Nixon flipped through the channels, seeing what the nightly news stations were saying about him. Being discussed on all big three networks would usually be a desirable thing, but seeing what the cover of the Washington Post was that morning, it had a terrible sinking feeling. CBS Evening News' Walter Cronkite, delete tapes. President has used racial epitaphs to describe the investigation, which he described as life-ending. ABC Evening News with Ron Cochran. Senator Goldwater's comments to the press this afternoon. I know I do not speak alone for the Jewish people of America when I condemn the president's foul, prejudiced, and above all demeaning choice of words in the Huntley-Brinkley report on NBC. Have expressed concern for the state of the president, some going so far to call his tone raving and unhinged. White House press secretary was unavailable for Nixon switched off the TV. Just as he had feared, felt like everyone was trying to find a bone to pick with him. They wouldn't rest until they'd torn down everything he accomplished during his presidency. As he stood up and walked back to his desk, couldn't help but wonder how much of this was simply paying the price for his old sins. And how the hell did the Post even get to those taps in the first place? There is such a bad thing as bad press. Yeah, no shit, Nixon. But population growth good, yeah. Well, you know, wrap it before you tap it. I don't know. I don't have a joke. My brain, it's not there. I was gonna make the condom joke. I'm glad you did. I couldn't think of an elegant way to do it, so I just went, fuck it. It's not worth it. Alright, great. Cleaned up the Cape. Send those troops back to the front line, champ. We got a war to win. Where do I want to campaign next? Great Lakes. I'd still like to lock down Illinois, though it has a strong lead, and we only have a weak lead in Indiana. Michigan and Ohio, we have a strong lead. How are we doing in East Coast? I could win Maryland. Fuck that. Fuck Maryland. We're going for the Great Lakes. Alright, we'll wait here for organization for, I don't know, a day or two. Check if I can send more volunteers. I know what you're probably thinking. You're probably thinking, Alex, you could send more volunteers if you just create more divisions. That's part of it. What equipment are you waiting on? God damn it, anti-air equipment? This is really killing me. This is absolutely killing me. I never should have researched that. Antoine Pinay elected as president of France. Political crisis in France. You should really just call it Aquitaine at this point. That's not France. Ignited by the bitter defeat of recent Burgundian invasion and mysterious vanishing of former President Trixier Viachencourt, seems to have been resolved. The Assemblée Nationale has elected Antoine Pinay, leader of the reformist wing of the Parti National, as president of the French state. The new president has managed to assemble an unstable coalition of reformists, united by their goal of reintroducing full democracy to France. Already, the French far right has expressed fierce opposition to Pinay, and internal tensions in France seem to be increasing once again. Some believe he may have contacts in the resistance, and he plans to use them in his grand plans of democratic reform. However, with infighting in the assembly already mounting and some reports of far-right militias already organizing, the feasibility of his plan seems a dubious something. Yeah, what happens if you lose and have to play as the other party? You just have to play as whoever the fuck that president is. It's, yeah, it's interesting. It's pretty uncomfortable, but I do like that the game is like, well, here are the consequences. You don't get to choose who wins. Who won. I mean, I like it on one hand, but at the same time, I kind of resent it because I want to make choices for myself. And they're like, no, we don't do that here. Oh, hey, want to make improve relations with Her Majesty's government? No, not really. What I want to do is greatly improve ground operations. Break open the first fallen dominoes, yeah. In keeping with this long-held history of weaving polite fictions through force of will, the Reich has proclaimed Norway's territory no less integral to natural borders than Rhineland, Bavaria. Germanic peoples share destiny in Germania. Presumable fever dream supersedes queries laden with common sense, such as how many Norwegians buy their tripe, and how many Germans would give their lives for Oslo. There at least exists an answer to the first question, namely scant few outsiders of the collaborator government's sway. Were the Einheitspakts a line of dominoes, Langley surmises? The Norway's piece of wobbles to and fro near the front with a gentle poke. It may come a tumbling down. Sweet, we might be able to take this. Hey, how do you feel about volunteers? Not into it? It's cool. I never should have researched anti-air. I'm severely regretting that choice right now. Hey, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you leaving? Why? I need you to push on this, not leave. Alright, fine, I'll hold all by myself. Fuck you. I don't like that they... God damn it. Though the earth be moved, suddenly the whole harbor at Valdez begins to empty. Drains almost dry. A subterranean chasm opens up alongside the ship. Slowly, the China starts sinking down into it. Soon only its mast can be seen from the top. The dock splinters, goes down with it, while crewmen try frantically to reach the people on it. No one at the dock at Valdez will survive. The longshoremen, the kids, or their dogs. An earthquake struck south-central Alaska at 5:36 p.m. today for nearly 5 minutes, causing massive fissures that damage roads and buildings across the state. Subsequent tidal waves brought further devastation to settlements along the southern coast. reporting an epicenter near Prince William Sound, only 78 miles east of Alaska's largest city. Initial analyses from the United States Geological Survey indicate a magnitude of 9.2, stronger than San Francisco's in 1906. Governor William Egan has declared a state of emergency for the entirety of Alaska, mobilizing the state's National Guard to begin initial disaster relief in Anchorage and the port of Valdez. President Richard Nixon followed suit by directing Navy and Coast Guard to conduct search and rescue operations along the coast. However, inclement weather conditions and damaged infrastructure may preclude more extensive relief operations until Sunday at the latest. Total damage and casualties from the earthquake are yet to be determined, though estimates for both are high. Alaskans were reportedly caught off guard due to preparations for Good Friday. The event's sudden occurrence had left them with no time to react for either the tremors or the tsunami. Metropolitan Ambrose of the Orthodox Church in America has called for Alaskans of every faith and creed to treat their fellow Alaskan with beneficence worthy of our Lord God, as we rebuild from the tragedy that has struck the Great and Holy Friday. I gotta fix that infrastructure. Issa talks revenge. As families across Alaska are sitting down to dinner, a sudden series of tremors erupted, lasting almost 5 minutes. After the dust had settled, over 100 people lay dead in what is now known as the most powerful earthquake in North American history. In addition to tremors, the state has been racked by landslides, fissures, tsunamis, as well as widespread destruction of roads and railways. The rescue effort is ongoing, with survivors and bodies being pulled from collapsed buildings in Anchorage, but emergency services were woefully unprepared for the disaster of this magnitude and do not have resources to adequately deal with it. We send disaster relief immediately will boost our political capital, not only in Alaska, but across the nation, as we prove we're capable of protecting our citizens. I see them pushing and I don't want them to...
Move out!
God damn it.
Move out!
Well, they're just gonna push down here. It's not like they're gonna encircle anything. Not yet. And now that there's only one here, I think can push in and win that. Gods of the North. Reports have slowly begun filtering in from a movement in the distant communes of Siberia. What it is, really, we cannot say, but the fact that any form of news is leaving that region alone has set many to wondering what exactly could be happening. Surely, if the communes are making any kind of stir for the first time in 20 years, it must be in some form important. Reports speak of stirrings from the religious. Those few traders who make their way out that far over the East Siberian trade routes, spoken of entire communities chanting in prayer, of churches filled to the brim. Some are pushing on westward. Nobody knows what exactly spurred this action, but the people of Siberian keep praying for one man, and they call him the Father. Il Papa. Okay. Polls have been updated. We'll worry about that once I can make a decision.
Move out!
Push on down here. Can't push it yet. You're gonna push on me, and you won't succeed. Because I'm getting supplied and you aren't. Yeah, it's gonna be rough at first, but I should win this. I should win this.
I'm moving!
Bitch. Okay, there we go. Don't try me. Don't try me. Maybe I should stop exercising if we're using up... Nah. Nah. Listen, I need improved anti-air equipment. We'll fill that up as quickly as I can. We'll get to it when we can. Kennedy shows his true colors. Yeah, you know what? I really should stop training while our troops are in a war, just so, you know, good logistics. Among the guiding principles of our nation is a belief that all men are equal before the law. And there is nobody in our government, nor should there be anybody, who considers himself immune to the very laws he swore to defend and uphold. This is not a matter of partisanship, this is a matter of democracy, of dictatorship, Americanism, and anti-Americanism. Vice President Kennedy, are you insinuating the investigation into the president for criminal activity is justified? I am saying that any question of wrongdoing of the president's part can only be answered in the court of law. President Nixon is impeached and removed from office. How would you react? I would respect the decision of the Senate. Nixon grabbed the clicker and switched off the television with a grunt of frustration. Thought Kennedy could smooth things over at the press conference. Instead, he all but admitted he was leaving his own president out to dry. Every day it felt as if another prominent member of the administration was issuing some veiled condemnation, hoping to save their own hides if he went down, just like rats on a sinking ship. Vroom vroom, motherfucker. It's helicopter time. Oh no, your armies, where'd they go? Where'd they go? Did those mean old American helicopters encircle them?
Taking aim.
Okay, well, you got me there. You got it, buddy. Can I please send more divisions? Nope, still one. Because your dumbass decided to invent anti-air guns and have to upgrade all your armies before you can expand your holdings. Another stellar campaign. We're getting very lucky. I'm not gonna act as if,
Move out.
Okay, we're gonna lose that. Nope, to pull out. Dr. Strangelove. When the movie came, if I'm on 1440p and it's doing this because there's not enough room on the fucking screen for it, perhaps your event is too long. Just you know, just not. Oh no, oh no, Interbutts go dead. Ba ba da 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 do 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 network error. This site can't be reached. Oh no. Oh no. You love to fucking see it. God damn. Why? Why, Comcast? Why you gotta be like this? Well, hey, if you're watching on YouTube after the fact, I guess it's just us now. Oh, well, you know. Rip Interbutts. When the movie came out, I had no idea what to make of it. Stanley Kubrick directing a comedy, and a satire of nuclear Armageddon at that, how an Air Force general, usually gone completely insane thinking Japanese were destroying America from within by destroying precious bodily fluids with fluoride, could order a nuclear strike on them, to American audiences that thought someone who could just order a nuclear attack on a whim was something that could happen in Germania, Tokyo, not the good US of A. Flailing efforts to recall the bombers, a German revelation of a doomsday device that would kill all life on Earth as the bombers head for Japan, just further confounds the audience's expectations. The movie showed that everyone, from the unnamed yet all-proving and raving Nazi Fuhrer over the ceremonial puppet Japanese emperor, were just as incompetent as any corrupt politician elected in the United States, especially in the face of nuclear Armageddon. Yet, Dr. Strangelove is much more than a surreal look at mid-20th century fears in the face of nuclear war. It will be remembered as future generations as a classic of filmmaking. Kubrick's excessive attention to detail in everything from camera work to exact facial expressions of actors seen on screen, the brilliant acting of Peter Sellers in 3 separate roles. British emergé RCAF officer who tries to restrain American general, the unready and soft-spoken president of the United States thrust into diplomatic crisis, the creepy and comedic Dr. Strangelove, Russian scientist who some crazy ideas on how to rebuild the US in the aftermath of the now inevitable nuclear war involving crossbreeding people with plants. The over-the-top and hammy acting of George C. Scott as he reveals just how the world was to end with American B-52s flying low over Kanto plains, his arms outstretched. I lost my place. And making sound effects with his mouth, cowboy riding the bomb down like a bull at a Texas rodeo to obliterate a Japanese military base, and finally, a montage of nuclear bombs exploding to the haunting, maybe, by the ink spots. It is, perhaps, the perfect dark comedy. Funny in the face of terror, horrifying despite the levity. It brings in the starkest contrast to the ideas of mutually assured destruction to an audience that just didn't quite comprehend the fact that a nuclear war would be the last war, and all could happen because of a mistake. Mistake like Comcast fucking dropping my connection. Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room. Oh, God. Yeah, I fucked up. I fucked up big time by... Oh, hey. Well, Twitch is back, which means my stream should be back. We'll fucking see. We will fucking see. Well, I have enough transports now of both variety. Let's see, we refresh that. Alright, we stop streaming. We start streaming. And you're still convinced. Ah, there we go. There we go, buddy. There we go. We're back, baby. Love it. Love it. ICANN has internet. Awkward. Ford debuts the Mustang. In New York City, Ford astounds the world with what will surely become an all-American classic. Sunlight gleams from its long, shiny red hood, frame that carried its squeak and svelte like American Hollywood prima donna, chrome bumpers and ritzy ringlets, necklaces. What a weird comparison. A car is not a woman. Its cabin lay bare to the elements, as if it wished to show the world the velvet cushions that lined its seats, silvers and ivories topping every knob and handle. When the company salesman keyed its engine on, it purred like a docile house cat. Stepped on the pedal, it roared with pride and darted round the track as a man-made cheetah. Crowd of hundreds had become tens, thousands, then eyes transfixed at the engineering marvel that graced the World's Fair with its presence. Greeted with numbers and features moments later, 3,000 pounds of treated steel, rear-wheel drive, 15 feet from bumper to bumper, 3-speed manual transmission, V8 engines rated at 200 horsepower, an Olympian in the shape of a car, yours for the low, low price of $2,368. Just gotta fetishize the fuck out of that car. You know what? Putting a temporary hold on all these planes. Later. We can produce more later. But right now, I really want these fucking anti-air equipment done. I wanted them done a long, long time ago.
Move out!
Because I didn't realize we weren't producing any divisions. I thought it was just slow. But no, it's so slow going that we may not be able to send more troops, which is damning. Okay, California is now a toss-up. I really want to push that. Vermont's a toss-up I don't give a shit about. We still have New York. Yep, we still have Pennsylvania. Great. How are the Great Lakes looking? Oh my god, I'm blind. We have Indiana, Michigan, Ohio. Still don't have Illinois. Alright, we'll push on the West Coast. Then we'll go back to the Great Lakes.
Roger.
Some cop thought it was a good idea to snoop behind the jalopy, so now my skull is split open like a watermelon. Well, not actually split open, but you know what I mean. At least I'm baked enough to shrug off the migraine a bit. Gotta ask Carlos where he gets his bud sometime. We're buddies, so it's no big deal, right? Not fun grounding yourself in your own house because of an injury. Nothing to do but to toke, watch bullshit and media shovels, maybe get around to finishing coursework. Just kidding, I haven't touched a textbook in months, so just toke and watch bullshit, pretty much. Seeing your mug for a flash second before Cronkite plays a script about hooligans in the streets got old and thin quick. Erie thought I should get a hobby. I said why bother? All I'm good at is smoking pot and giving myself a concussion for doing a decent thing. That and the army's out to hand me my papers any day now. What do hobbies matter when a Nazi's bound to riddle my chest with lead either way? Can't understand her sometimes, honestly, but I guess that's part of her charm. Hopeful and sunny, bright look outlook. I mean, another news, prom's coming up. You can either go stag or go with someone, kidding, again, who's a poor sap who'd partner up with poor old me. Food's free, and that's all that matters. Probably just loiter around, leave as soon as I get my fill of buffet time. Save the dancing for phonies lucky enough to have a future. Write more as soon as I find something new to talk about. Tomorrow, day after that, next acid trip, who knows? Peace out, Jules. Let's break open the caches. England has no shortage of disillusioned civilians. Yeah, no, that was just my internet dying. Not yours this time. Oh yeah, that's great, isn't it? Following an armored car, they were giving them weapons that they don't need. They already won their little civil war. And even if we had taken the focus earlier, it doesn't actually do anything.
Move out!
Excuse you, the Italians were at war with the Hellenic state? What? The fuck did I miss? You'd think that'd be worthy of a pop-up. Can I push on this? Yeah, I can. Hey, can I send you more volunteers? Nope. Alright, we're gonna take this, and then we're gonna swoop around here and encircle you, and no, we're not gonna do anything of the sort because you got reinforced. What's going on over here? Oh, I can definitely fuck around over here. Peace, this side of the conflict is all your problem. Because the enemy AI caught on to me snooping around and started reinforcing like smart people. We can't have that, so I'm out.
Move out!
Man, there are instances where I've won the war by now. When my dumbass doesn't research anti-air tech that I don't need and shouldn't use.
Move out!
Now let's just secure this encirclement. The men were led out of the state, war, and navy building in handcuffs by FBI agents, trying their best not to look remorseful in front of the press as dozens of popping flashbulbs. Charges had yet to be announced publicly, but few had any doubts about what they were. Those who hadn't violated federal wiretapping laws were invariably involved in the cover-up that followed. The press was less interested in what crimes they committed, however, and more in who ordered them. They were all racing to cover one question. How high up does it go? Richard Nixon watched the parade from room 180, silently fuming as the condemned were marched past the press and into a waiting police van. He knew Hoover could have dragged his feet and delayed the warrants if he wanted to, but he clearly had no interest in sticking by his president. Should have fired that bastard on day one, Nixon muttered to himself as the van sped off and reporters dispersed. Pardoning them could have worked, but that required them to be tried and convicted first, not to mention burning away more goodwill than it's worth. Like all the other messes bearing down on him, Nixon would need allies and time to get out of this. And both were in dangerously short supply. Hey fuckos, how about you fight your own goddamn war and attack the thing you've encircled? There you go. Well, you've encircled, I have encircled for you. Alright, support weapons. Just America rolling up here with one fucking division, rocking this war for you. You're welcome. You're fucking welcome. Alright, infiltration specialization. That's good, that's good. That's real good, dog. That's real good. Alright, don't need... Well, could use better artillery, but it's not relevant yet. Flamethrowers free isn't relevant yet. We're all cut up on 1964 techs. How we doing on SL65? I could try to catch up on some of these techs. They're not super relevant to us right now. Well, you know, night operations penalty reduction is always nice. Sure. This isn't super helpful, but let's start going down the air tree just because we are using our aircraft right now. Speaking of, how's that going? We are dominating the skies. Great. I didn't send in any close air support, so that'll just have to be good enough on its own. What the fuck are you doing? What is this fucking dance that they're doing? Please stop. Please. I'm waiting for you. They're gonna move. I think they're moving here, and then I can just cut them off. I'm about this. Okay. Dumb move. What were you expecting? Like, honestly, what were you expecting out of that?
Move out!
Maybe if I walk in, the Americans will encircle me and delete my... Yep.
Move out!
There you go. Congratulations, you played yourself. You've just... Oh no, we finally had an uninspired campaign, damn it. Polls are updated. Italians have beaten Croats. Oh no. Croatia's back to just being a puppet, I think. Yes. As is the Hellenic state. Fair enough. Who's winning over here? No one. Wow, this is dragging on longer than I expected. I love it.
Loud and clear, go ahead, over.
What's going on over here, buddy? Who's gonna make the first move? It's me, I'm gonna make the first move. Attacking an entrenched position by myself without any help from the South Africans. And deciding maybe not to do that. It's a bad idea. Let's pull out of there.
Move out! Move out! Move out!
Zoop.
Move out!
Oh, I can definitely cut them off. What am I doing? Oh, no, don't attack.
Move out!
Let's go up here. Open the black market. The Reich's new order has unleashed many travesties upon the world, but chief among them is legitimizing base hatred as an alternative to Enlightenment's liberating principles. By now, a whole generation of Europeans has been taught that free will and the rights of man are assumptions rather than principal axioms, which they are. Fascism's stain on Europe's ancient societies will linger for decades before it fades away, if it ever fades at all. But no volume of Nazi indoctrination can excise man's impulse to seek the illicit, the unknown, made alluring by its forbidden nature. How far the world has strayed that common decency is merely an exotic import to the Reich's citizenry, but they yearn for it regardless. America will give them how much of it they wish to consume through Brittany's unfettered ports. Hey, can I click button yet? Nope, 150. Ugh. It's so prohibitively expensive. And then we push this? Right, it's either up and through here.
Move
no,
out.
it's here. Can't take it. God damn it.
Move out!
I might get away with this. I might get away with this. I might barely get away with this. All right, where are we campaigning? Great Lakes, right? California is still a toss-up, which is a shame. Let's make sure I'm not. East Coast, New York is locked down. New Jersey, New York and Pennsylvania are locked down. That's what I like to see. Great Lakes. Could still make some progress in Illinois. We are starting to lose Wisconsin, so let's just keep pushing to Great Lakes. 'Cause I'd really like to get Illinois under our belt. Fuck you in that very, very good holding pattern. Also, AI, what are you doing? Just clear this up.
Move out!
Attack. Just attack on your own volition.
Move out!
They have the most cautious,
Move out!
strategic... I mean, it makes sense, but it's also annoying as hell. Mina Teko Uparsen. Senators Johnson, Bennett, and Speaker of House Mccormack sat aside from President Nixon in the House Oval Office. Wow. I combined this and that. My brain. Tension between three congressmen so thick you could cut it with a knife. All formalities had been dealt with, so all that remained was their assessment, how the upcoming impeachment trial would go. McCormack was the first to break the ice. The situation on Capitol Hill is, put it bluntly, sir, gloomy. Nixon brow furrowed. Damn gloomy. Yes, sir, McCormack replied, not missing a beat. The articles of impeachment are read before the House. There's no question as to which way the vote will go. As for the Senate, Johnson took over where McCormack left off. In the Senate, you'll need, what, 34 votes to acquit? Probably get 12, maybe 15 if you're lucky. Even if I put the fear of God in every senator on the floor, you never hit 34. And which way would you gentlemen vote? Nixon asked the senators, stared down at the floor, silence betraying their intentions. For a brief moment, a maelstrom of rage seemed to brew behind Nixon's eyes, but it vanished as quickly as it appeared. The rest of the meeting was rather unremarkable. Senators departed the White House and a swarm of journalists trying to glean a hint of what went on in there. Nixon, however, would not reveal his thoughts on the meeting until he sat down for dinner with his wife and daughters that night. Girls, we're moving back to California. No more slippery Richard. No more. Are you actually at war with them? No. Let's try this. Go there, there we fucking go. Pin you down there. Get encircled, get eaten. End of the line. Richard Nixon stared at the faces surrounding him in the East Room. Staffers, Secret Service, cooks, custodians. All of them having served his administration as loyally as they could for the past 4 years. He decided to pontificate to them for a few minutes. At the very least, they could learn not to do what he did. Now remember, he concluded, though your enemies may try to drag you down, never step down to their level. Never sink into pettiness and spite. Never submerge yourself in hate, because once you do, they will triumph and you will destroy yourself. It's been an honor. Thank you. He stepped out of the East Room to muted applause. With all the paperwork signed and noon just seconds away, Nixon opened the doors to the south lawn of the White House, holding it for Pat, Tricia, Julie, followed by John and Jackie Kennedy. The press, of course, turned out to revel in his dethronement, a final twist to the knife, but Nixon took it in stride. He wouldn't be there for them to kick around much longer. At the stairway to Marine One, Nixon shook Kennedy's hand, simply stating, "Keep her steady, Jack." He climbed the stairway, turned around for one last look at the White House, the staff, the guards, the reporters, the cameras, and he couldn't stop himself from smiling. He gave a wave and threw up 2 V for victory signs, chuckling at the fervent applause he got from the crowd. He then turned around and stepped into Marine One and into history. He was soon borne away by the waves, lost in the darkness and the distance. Richard Nixon resigns. As of noon today, President Richard Nixon has officially resigned his post of President of the United States, first to do so in nearly 200 years of American history. Nixon stood accused of wiretapping rivals in the National Progressive Party during the 1960 election, as well as obstruction of justice for trying to cover up the deed. With impeachment inevitable, he left of his own accord, rather than be convicted and removed. The office falls to Vice President John F. Kennedy, son of former President John P. Kennedy. Charismatic figure, he's drawn both praise from progressives and ire from segregationists for his support of civil rights. Whether he can step out of Nixon administration's shadow and forge his own legacy is yet to be seen. Can Kennedy hold the nation together? And now we have Kennedy's focus tree, which you will notice is squeezed way the fuck over here and I can't see it. There we go. Nope. Just trust me, it's there. it's way the fuck over here, and the more I zoom in, the more it pops away. This tree, it's a lie. Alright, just spoilers, it's a fucking lie. We're not gonna get through this tree. And this is something I like and hate about this mod. It'll be like, oh yeah, look at this focus tree. You want to plan your way through it? Oh yeah, I bet you do. And then I'll only let you do like 2 or 3 of them, and then it'll just change the whole goddamn tree on you. The Kennedy Presidency. After the resignation of Richard Milhous Nixon, it appears Americans are once again able to look at a leader who inspires trust, hope, and confidence in John Fitzgerald Kennedy. Having desired the presidency for many years, it appears Providence has done what JFK himself could not. Cleared wrongdoings of Nixon's scandal, Kennedy stands ready, with support of the nation, to shape the United States into a truly greater and freer country. From civil rights to social programs, the Kennedy presidency is shaping up to be prosperous, should he succeed in the upcoming presidential election. Hard hat riots break out in New York. The whole debacle began when a group of college students decided to hold a demonstration in New York. Enough was enough, they said. America must leave South Africa immediately. War was good for absolutely nothing but the pockets of Death's business-suited merchants. Neither rhetoric nor propaganda could sway their commitment to peace and love for all men. So, with their long flowing hair, picket signs and slogans, they packed walls and broad streets by the thousands to profess their unconditional demands. City's working men disagreed. Among their most vocal is Peter J. Brennan, president of an alliance of New York's largest construction and engineering unions. To a man, he and his fellow union men agreed. America had a moral obligation to protect democracy from fascism's encroachment, not just at home, but also abroad. Dissent from the war effort was tantamount to treason. So, with hard hats, old glories, and steel-toed boots, 200 construction workers coalesced into a counter-protest in Federal Hall to profess their unconditional patriotism. All that kept a semblance of order was a thin, shaky border policeman sandwiched between two raucous mobs. And when it broke, or opened wide as does a gatekeeper when bribed, order had collapsed into bouts of naked assault. Hippies and hard hats brawled each other until they couldn't anymore, while a broad swath of New York laid sacrifice as collateral damage. It took the city 2 hours to rein them both in, but by then, more than 70 people and untold millions of property damage had fallen victim to one of the worst riots since the Civil War. President John F. Kennedy is expected to make an announcement to ameliorate tensions lingering from the hard hat riot, though whether or not it can succeed in doing so remains to be seen. Oh, god damn it, my organization ran out. Just let me have this, thank you.
Move out!
Okay, I think we've broken enough of the German line here that I can just start getting away with my bullshit. I hope. My bullshit being I'm too fast for them to respond to, so I'm just gonna move up the coast, eating up every single victory point and force them to capitulate.
Move out!
I'd win? Don't want to actually fight that. Cause for celebration. The Dirksen building had been quieter since Nixon's resignation, which was all the better for the brothers, who now found themselves enjoying dinner once again. The now President Kennedy sat together with his big brother, with his little brother, Robert, who still served faithfully as his chief of staff. Proud of you, you know. Circumstances aren't ideal, but I can think of no better man to be president right now. Robert could barely contain his adoring smile. Think of all the things we can finally accomplish. Now, come on, Bobby, you're embarrassing me, chuckled John. Beam nonetheless. Thank you. No, I can always count on you. Always. I could leave you for the NPP or anyone else, especially when you're about to give this country the change it so desperately deserves. Robert's enthusiasm, seemingly infectious, prompted more laughs from his brother. Now, we have a lot of work to do to get before we can set things in motion. His look became more serious, more determined. Party's image is somewhat tarnished at the moment with the Nixon fiasco, so I've arranged some trips across the country to show up support. This, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a long itinerary of events and dates in various states and cities and handed it to Robert. Of course, you do have the election to worry about, Robert frowned, reverting the smile. Come on, Jack. Suppose we can just enjoy this meal before your big tour? You've earned it. And so the brothers sat for a while longer, enjoying their food in peace. As time finally came to leave, Robert quickly glanced at the list, noted his brother's first destination, smiled at his brother one last time before they departed. I know you'll do great, Jack. I'll see you when you get back from Dallas.
Move out! Move out!
Yes, 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 yes. Greatly expand. Greatly expand ground operations. So it's 40 days until that comes into effect, and I'm really hoping, really hoping it does what I want it to do, and lets me send more troops. Anything but Texas. Yeah, John F. Kennedy going to Dallas, Texas? What could go wrong? The Quillamane Uprising. It's an uprising? I mean, I took it, but sure, call it an uprising.
Loud and clear, go ahead, over.
This is why you don't let helicopters get loose behind your front lines, bitch. I'm gonna make you capitulate.
Move out!
But the army quits moving because it's out of organization. Not on my watch. Battle of Salisbury? Yeah. I took another big one. I know. How much victory points at this? 30? Yeah, we'll go for that. Okay, fine. You know what? Give you till midnight. Then we're moving again. Okay, this done. These are up to date. Right, yeah, these are up to date. Support's up to date. Armor is not, but I'm not building it right now, so it don't matter. That's up to date. I am working on air doctrine. Sweet, this is up to date. I got, you know what? What's guidance radar? Yeah, let's start improving our radar so our planes are better. All right, Kennedy Presidency is done. What do we want to do? Mend the rifts? Which would Republican-Democrat Party unity grows more? Nope. Base stability or social democracy and conservative democracy becomes more popular. Well, social democracy becoming more popular, I'm about. Conservative democracy, not really, but I'll take any boost to social democracy. More stability? Yeah, that's probably the way to go. Save the country. Nixon scandal was, and still is, one of the greatest executive violations of public trust in more than a century. Rarely has such an event so weakened American belief and approval of not just the president, but the entire federal government. Kennedy and his political allies cannot move if the people they claim to represent no longer believe in them, or the institution that they run. As such, with his endless charisma and good relationships with the media, he may be able to reestablish trust with the people of the United States. Where'd your capital move, motherfucker? Oh, it's all the way up here. 5, 10. Okay, let's get Medola. How's our supply lines going here? I mean, shaky. Shaky, right? This is a 10. This is a 10. This is a 5. Let's push up from Mansa. What did organic units even give me? Recovery rate and organization. Actually, that's huge.
Loud and clear, go ahead, over.
Move out!
This is 5. This is 10. The poor South Africans are trying to cover this snaking front line that I'm creating through their enemies' territory. Honestly, buddy, just don't even worry about it. I got this. The Tears of a Continent. The man from Angola climbed the staircases 2 steps at a time. Surprised he hadn't been stopped yet. At the top, he would find the office of the man they called Mr. Joe Kennedy. The American king or prime minister, or whatever it was that they had. The big boss, anyway. There he was. He'd be able to plead his case and perhaps they could help. Young man stepped out of the office and looked up at the Angolan with surprise. Sorry, but you can't just walk in there. Was this John Kennedy? He tried to remember the lines he practiced in the mirror. Excuse me, are you Joe Kennedy? The white man looked at him with a furrowed brow. I'm his chief of staff, Robert. What's this about? Who are you? The Angolan struggled to remember the right words in English. I am Angolan. I come here to America because of the Germans. They caused much suffering. I come here to ask for Angola, as all say America is for freedom. But nobody lets me speak. I want to speak to Joe Kennedy for my people. Robert Kennedy had heard about killings in Angola. Germans had been slaughtering people all over the world for 20 years. people had become desensitized to it. But he thought maybe it was worth trying, even if they only saved a few people. Surely it was worthwhile. Surely he had a duty to convince his brother. Kennedy smiled at the Angolan. Well, you sure don't have an appointment, but why don't you come in? Sure, we can spare a few minutes for your concerns. We can make the world a bit better. We should.
Move out!
I want to push up the Dar es Salaam and get this port. I mean, I want the capital, but I want the port just in case the AI managed to cut this. They're not stupid, they're just slow. I mean, they're stupid and slow. Uninspired MPP campaign, you hate to see it. Okay, we got Dodoma, but they haven't surrendered yet. Not surprising. Where'd the capital move? Oop. Oop. Something's happening. Nope, not this capitulating. Livingston has become the new capital. Well, I can snake back down there, that's fine. Just gonna take Dar es Salaam first. Okay, much easier to get supplied from that port.
Move out!
I'm so used to doing this with so many more fucking troops. I'm used to having like 3 divisions over here, not trying to do this with 1 goddamn division. That's a good thing I took that when I did, because they did split that line. They're fighting over it, so maybe they'll get that back. I could... Yeah, I'll grab this, that. Yeah. Lozano, elected president of Mexico. After yet another landslide election, Raul Salinas Lozano of the Partido Revolucionario Institucional has been elected president of the Republic of Mexico. A rare free trade advocate within his party, the country's Secretary of Industry and Commerce is decried both by the opposition and fellow PRI for betraying the revolution in practice. His victory comes as an unsettling shock to local businesses enjoying protectionist policies, but also a welcome surprise to enterprises from Japan. As congratulations are exchanged across the Pacific, Mexico seems ready to enter the world with an eye towards the horizon's rising sun. Yikes. Please no. Please no. Meet with the people. I want that political power. The United States is currently going through one of the most difficult and critical times in its history. Poverty rate is reaching levels unseen since the Great Depression. Overall, Americans are tired, poor, and in need of change. In order to both prevent further civil unrest and also to lay the groundwork for future political support of the Kennedy administration, President Kennedy is planning a public outreach program that will allow the president and others to directly address questions made by the general citizenry.
Move out!
Bum, ba, ba, bum, ba, ba, bum, ba, 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 bum, 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 bum.
Move out!
Uh-oh.
Move out!
One of the Germans are winning the war. Bormann is. And probably quite quickly they'll reunify Germany. Rat-row. Polls are updated. Yeah, that's nice and all, but I don't care because we're gonna win in a landslide. California is a toss-up, so I kind of want to focus on California. We're doing good in New York and Pennsylvania. How we doing in Great Lakes? Wisconsin's still a toss-up. Okay, let's push on the West Coast for California.
Move out! Move out!
President John F. Kennedy assassinated. John Fitzgerald Kennedy, newly inaugurated President of the United States, smiled and waved to a crowd from the motorcade driving him through downtown Dallas. Accompanied by Governor John Connally of Texas and their wives, Kennedy was enjoying the cool breezes through his hair and adoration of onlookers. Already more popular than Nixon, he had achieved significant success at calming the nation after Nixon's ignominious fall from grace. Connolly turned to the president, commenting nobody could say all of Dallas didn't love him. No, replied the president, flashing the governor his winning smile. You certainly can't. As he turned back to the crowd, he heard a sudden blast, and his head blew apart, showering his wife with his blood. When the dust settled, 2 bodies were brought into the city morgue. The president and that of a young black man, shot dead by Officer J.D. Trippett while attempting to steal a car at gunpoint. He was later identified as Martin Joseph Henry, a Guyanese immigrant who worked as a custodian in the Dallas County Courthouse. Police investigation in the courthouse found a Carcano rifle stashed in a 4th-floor maintenance closet. Several casings found by a window overlooking the stretch of road where the president had been shot. Search of his apartment also revealed a motive. He was a fervent Guyanese nationalist. He had felt he had to stop American hegemony over his home nation at any cost. Speaker of the House and acting Vice President John McCormack prepares to take the oath of office. America is slowly coming to grips with this tragedy just after wrapping their heads around the reality of Nixon's resignation. People are nervous for the future, both their own and that of their nation, but no matter how bleak it may seem, there's a sense that the American people will have to pick up the pieces and soldier on, as they always have. John Fitzgerald Kennedy, newly elected president. We just read a variation of this. I don't need to read this again. We know what happened, right? The McCormack presidency. A president in disgrace, another president shot dead, a country in chaos, and an election barely a year away. To say the situation of Republican Democrats is dire would be the understatement of a century. Enter former Speaker of the House, John McCormack. A man who never expected to hold the reins of power, who has regardless found them thrust into his hands. At such a dark moment in Americans' history, McCormack will certainly have his work cut out for him. With the election approaching, McCormack's tenure as president will be short. He has no intentions of running in the election, instead simply resolving to hold the Oval Office in the coming months until a new commander-in-chief can be nominated. However, with this party in shambles, National Progressive Party making unprecedented gains, he intends to use this brief tenure to try and right the ship and save the Republican Democrats from ruin. Good luck with that, boss. You're gonna need it. 2 weeks until we're done greatly expanding ground operations. Sweet, and then we're gonna switch over to sending them guns. How much is Livingston? 10? Alright, let's grab this, that, and then we'll push our way over to Livingston. Ooh, hello, Motorized Division. How you doing? Alright, I'll stop. Wait a day. Push. There we go. I'll fight you. I don't want to fight you, but I'd rather you not be running around it.
Move out!
Fine. Fine. We can coexist. I really don't want to, but we can. Yeah, I need more than one division to cover this much ground effectively. Why am I so much slower than I normally am? What the fuck is slowing this down? South Africa's all over the goddamn place. The AI's gotta be so fucking confused by what I'm doing. Alright, to leave this here, we should win. You know what? Fall back. Fall back? No? Okay, yeah, just stand your ground, even though I really don't want you to.
Hold!
Yeah, like... Okay, just ignore the commands I'm giving. That's cool. That's cool, not at all frustrating. John McCormack never wanted this. His career had been most successful, for sure. He's always wanted to serve the country and the party, and in his tenure as Speaker of the House, he performed admirably, if he did say so himself. And then Nixon lied. And Kennedy died. And suddenly, this Boston-born son of a hod carrier found himself thrust into the highest office in the land. Days seemed to blur together as he struggled to gather himself. Oval Office was a whirlwind of activity, endless lines of politicians and secretaries rushing to give him the lay of the land. While riding in the South, cried one. Latest casualty reports from South Africa, Mr. President, said another. Podium at the press conferences was another beast. Lost count of the amount of times he'd uttered phrases, national tragedy and difficult times for us all, in front of flashing cameras over the last few days. Finally, when he found himself at a brief moment to relax, pick up the newspaper and read about the grim poll forecasts, the English rumor mill, and countless reports of anti-war protests and continuing civil rights clashes, and lines of coffins returning from overseas. Man, I wish I had enough troops to be sending home that many coffins, but I only have one fucking division. Not enough. One night, sleep truly eluded him, and he found himself in the Oval Office, sitting in the darkness, save for only lights flooding in from the White House lawn. His presidency would not be a successful one. He accepted that. He made no plans to run in the election to try and legitimize or extend his rule, but perhaps he could steady the nation well enough that he who came after him could be within shot of triumph. Steeling himself, the caretaker president prepared for the ordeal it had. Black psyops in South Africa. In war, psychological operations are a give you... Oh, god damn it. I didn't realize this had happened. The AI better be able to... Ooh, I can send more divisions. Alright, yeah. You know what? I'll read that. I'll be delighted to read that. Just a minute. Yeah, Oh, yeah, absolutely, Jimmy. I care what you have to say. Send? I'm assuming that's because I expanded ground operations? Okay, that's how that works. It doesn't explain that's how that works, but I'm glad that it works that way. PSYOPs are a given. Widely known as white PSYOPs, it's virtually every theater of war. Distribution of state-approved propaganda, such as newspapers, posters, leaflets amongst foreign populations and military ranks. What is lesser known, however, is known as a black PSYOP. Throughout the South African War, Iberian psychological warfare units have conducted black psychological operations in an attempt to dissuade, demoralize, and convince enemy forces and populations. Initial operations have limited success, however, in conjunction with the CIA, they hope to expand the scope of their black PSYOPs. Americans have proven to be brutal, yet effective. In securing a stronger hold of their South African territory, in conjunction with South African governments and Iberian psychological operation units, an operation has been undertaken known as the Phoenix Program. Operation aims to conduct a covert psychological operation in South Africa where may possibly lead to support of SHIELD or the Boers. Through exposure, public humiliation, arrest, and even torture, CIA and Iberians conduct a campaign of terror amongst the civilian populace who lean in support of the enemy, aiming to neutralize membership of hostile organizations. This is just one of many black PSYOPs conducted by the CIA, from whom the Iberians have been taking ample notes. Remain calm. The shock and uncertainty sparked by the wave of scandals and tragedies the party has experienced has not only shattered the public's confidence in us, it's frayed the tenuous bonds that holds various factions of the party together. With many of the Democrats and even a few Republican senators openly wondering if continued existence of the United Party is beneficial to anyone, drastic action must be taken to pull the party together, if we are to ever have a hope of salvaging the election. President McCormack will need to wrangle the squabbling factions into presenting a united front against the chaos America finds itself in. Restoring party unity will be critical to allay the nation's panic and prevent a mass defection of voters from the Republican Democrats.
Taking aim.
Alright, cool. We are sending in reinforcements. Sorry, Alex, did you want to read 4 more paragraphs? Yeah, how'd you know? I don't want to play the game, I just want to keep reading. Despite his best efforts, Robert F. Kennedy could not hold back his tears. He was supposed to give a big speech about his brother's legacy, about the strength and dedication of his character, and how he was an example to all within the halls of power. That was true enough, but as he sat in the holding area waiting his cue, he could only think of John as a brother he'd looked up to. His greatest inspiration, and his closest friend. He wondered if he should just call it off. So great was his grief. Grief and anger. John was killed because he was the president. He was the only president because the Republican Democrats, because of Nixon lying like a bitch and doing everything in his power. Why lying like a bitch? This is very unnecessary. Lying. Just lying. Doing everything in his power to stop progress and change. Killing the civil rights. Do female dogs lie a lot? The turn of phrase doesn't even make sense pejoratively. The party had chewed him up and spat him out. They'd used him, just like they used the entire Kennedy family and dragged their name through the mud. When a staffer poked their head into the room to wave him on stage, Robert stilled his tears and prepared to give what would become one of the most shocking speeches of his career. After slowly ascending to the podium, he addressed the assembled crowd, giving a short but passionate eulogy in honor of his brother, extolling his candor, his way with words, and his dedication to America. The crowd nodded along, cried, some even bowed their heads, but none of them could prepare for what came next. My brother was loyal to Republican Democrats through and through. Loyal as they made every effort to avoid bringing this country through equality and justice. He was loyal as they charged blindly into an unnecessary and bloody war in Africa. Loyal as he was ignored until the time where they needed a man to clean up his mistakes, and he was loyal as the fallout of their ignorance resulted in his loss of life. He paused as many of the crowd stared agape. At least two from the party mouthed words of astonishment, curses at him. His next line would live in infamy. I was loyal to Republican Democrats too. That ends today. Hell hath no fury, like a brother scorned. Yeah, that's how that phrase goes, right? Oh my god.
Move, move, move!
This is actually a pretty decent division, which is quite frustrating that I ran into it. I'm trying to pop my neck and it's not working. It's driving me crazy. Red, white, and blue balloons have colonized the roof of the Republican Democrats Convention Hall, where, as a booming commotion indicates, the party has come to decide who will be RD's next presidential candidate. Ignoring no-hopers, the two front-runners are Republican Lyndon Johnson and Democrat Wallace Bennett. Young men wearing all the way with LBJ and Bennett for America badges glare at each other through the wafting cigarette smoke. Of course, as it has been since the Senate of Rome, the real decision-making takes place behind closed doors, in a meeting room far removed from the hurly-burly of the convention hall, where a handful of craggy white-haired men smoke cigars and ponder which man will be more likely to play ball with the big dogs. If they were going to get past Nixon's disgrace and year of 3 presidents, they needed a candidate who'd be able to galvanize the public, counter the suddenly powerful MPP. Puffing away, they made the decision of who might govern the United States for the next 4 years, like they were deciding what to have for dinner. Wallace can give us stability, or all the way with LBJ. Let's get Lyndon Bird Johnson in here. I can smuggle the English weapons. Gotta say, I don't think that's necessary given that they've already won their war. So I'm gonna nix that for now. Where are you going? If I attack you, can I win? Bormann wins the German Civil War. The German Civil War, the most devastating and bloody conflict ever consumed Germany, has finally ended with Martin Bormann emerging as a victor. Having enjoyed extensive support during the Civil War, many expected Bormann's victory to be the most likely outcome of the terrible conflict. Standing at the Volksschau today, new Führer promised the German people a swift return to the former glory of the Reich, promising limited reform to ensure such conflict need never occur again. With the nation in ruins, a collapsed economy, a weary populace, much of Europe still consumed by chaos, however, the true future of the Reich remains uncertain. Yet with a great politician leading them, many remain hopeful Bormann will be able to return stability. Good luck with that. Okay, yeah, I can attack you and actually beat you. Well, I can at least hold you. And for the time being, that's good enough for me. I can't beat you.
Move out!
Really, fuck you. God, where did these troops come from?
Move back!
This is so frustrating. So the entire way that this works is I don't engage. This only works if my army can just swoop around theirs and not have to fucking engage them. I want Cape Town, but I also want to get my... Tell you what, we're gonna get you back. And we're just gonna sweep you down here. You two, we're gonna focus on Cape Town. Tonight on the news. With the election drawing near and Americans across the nation trying to determine who they'll elect for the highest office of the land, we truly believe it's our duty here at WCCO to help the residents of Minneapolis-St. Paul area to fulfill their civic duty. To that end, WCCO has offered the Republican, Democrat, National Progressive Party, and smaller third parties a chance to send their representatives to come on and discuss their party's platform, and how their candidate would serve the nation best in the coming weeks. One of the biggest issues facing the nation in the '64 election is civil rights. This is a hot-button issue for the past few years and resulting in fierce and acrimonious debate both within the national parties and division between the North and South, conservative and liberal. Further fuel on the fire was given to the issue of civil rights by President Nixon's veto of the Civil Rights Act, torpedoing major effort by Congress to solve the problem in a bipartisan nature. Joining us this evening is National Progressive candidate and war hero Winfield S. Cunningham for a discussion regarding civil rights in America. So, Captain Cunningham, what's your view regarding the president's actions vetoing the Civil Rights Act? America needs to move forward to integration, not eternal racial division. We need another national focus, healing a broken nation. With the party restored some semblance of cohesion, we must now work to win back the American people. Confidence in the party is still gravely damaged. President McCormack must move quickly to prove that we're still a better choice for a better American future. Through dedicated and clear-headed leadership who show the people that Republican Democrats are capable of guiding the nation through crises we find ourselves in. McCormack will need to deal with the ascendant NPP who've taken full advantage of the crises facing us to rocket up the opinion polls. If their rise is to be halted, we need to outmaneuver them in both words and policy, proving we are truly the only real option to carry America forward. Quit giving me shit to read and let me focus on the war, please. Because, you know, a little distracting and hard to concentrate. The NPP center head office was empty as Robert Kennedy entered. Okay, sweet. This army is freed. We're gonna run you over here, so all three will be together, and then I'll probably sneak up here, take you out, and we'll loop back around and deal with this West Africa bullshit. And sat patiently as he waited for an indeterminate amount of time. He wondered if what he was doing was too much, or if anyone would take him seriously, given that he had been an establishment stooge for too long. Still, he had to try. Finally, the door to the office swung open. In walked Scoop Jackson, followed closely by his underlings, Neuberger and Harrington. Three regarded Kennedy curiously, yet hopefully, as they sat opposite of him, each shaking his hand in return. Scoop was the first to speak. This is certainly unusual, but I hear good things about you, Mr. Kennedy. We have a few questions for you before we go any further. Over the next 20 minutes, the Impromptu Center Committee picked Robert's brains over a wide variety of issues. How committed are you to the Civil Rights Act? Asked Scoop. You agree that the state of healthcare in this country is disgraceful? Asked Harrington. Don't you think this country should do more to perfect the environment? Asked Neuberger. Felt almost like a college debate club, but Robert answered all their questions thoroughly and enthusiastically. As their questions came to a close, Robert spoke up. The Republican Democrats no longer represent this country, nor are they willing to do what's necessary for its people. I want to join you because I represent that change I believe in, the change that my brother believed in. Scoop glanced sideways to his associates. Neuberger nodded with a smile, and Harrington paused, gave a small nod in assent. Scoop beamed brightly. It would seem he had finally found the man he was looking for. Mr. Kennedy, how would you like to be president? Okay, that's locked down. Fantastic. Go ahead and wipe that out. I will encircle you.
Move out! Move out!
I can actually reinforce our armies. Oh my god, how strange. I can do maneuvers. Oh my god, it's not just microing one fucking division over and over and over. It's actually like,
Out.
oh my god, it's nice.
Move out.
See how easy this is when you actually have the troops to throw at it? Easy fucking plays, dog. Easy plays. This is getting all kinds of dirty, but you know what? We don't need to worry about that. That's South Africa's problem, not mine. My problem is pushing up the coast.
Move out.
And I can do that. Let's give them some time to resupply. Okay, that's enough time for me. Push with you two. Support with you two. Oh my god, it is nice to just be able to be like, and I win, and I win, and I win, and I win. Instead of just having to rely on being higher quality but numerically inferior. Now I got some parity. Sweet. What is this decision? California, we're gonna lose. Really? Wow, that's a shame. How are we doing on the East Coast? We still have New York, still have Pennsylvania, but New York's down to a small lead, so I might want to pivot to the East Coast. How are we doing in the Great Lakes? Wisconsin's still a toss-up, haven't made any progress in Illinois. Yeah, I'm gonna pivot back to the Central East Coast to lock down New York. Then I'll keep on hounding on California if I can. NPP election primaries. National Progressive Party convention concluded today with one of the greatest shocks in American political system since the unification of the Republican Democrats and the rise of the NPP itself. After multiple ballots with candidates representing each of the many factions of the party, including George Wallace, Michael Harrington, Scoop Jackson, a clear winner emerged: Robert Francis Kennedy. How Bobby Kennedy, brother and chief of staff of former President John F. Kennedy, and seventh of 9 children of former President John P. Kennedy, was President Nixon's campaign manager in 1960, who took the nation at storm with an explosive speech criticizing the party of its father and brother for failing to live up to the people, became the standard bearer for the opposition party just 4 years later. Still a shock. Many are trying to come to terms with. Perhaps it was a sidelining of his brother, a scandal to engulf the White House, or perhaps to simply make a clean break from the corruption of the current administration and his own past to serve his nation. True answer may be that Robert was infuriated with the president's vetoing of the Civil Rights Act, stalling, if not ending, the dream of equality for all races. This issue, which RFK had championed since he first got into politics, managed to obliterate his closest competitor, the segregationist Governor Wallace. In his victory speech, Robert Kennedy made his support for civil rights adamant. We must recognize full humanity equally, of all of our people before God, before the law, and the councils of government. We must do this not because it is economically advantageous, although it is, not because the laws of God command it, although they do, not because the people in other lands wish it, so we must do it for the single and fundamental reason that it is the right thing to do. Already, RFK has great support across the nation. From African Americans seeking to end the terrors of Jim Crow, blue-collar workers that seem as their strongest advocate, progressives wishing to make the U.S. a more equal society, and millions more that just want to banish the corrupt and dirty politics of Nixon to the history books as fast as possible. It remains just to be seen if this can translate into victory in November. Let's save Nixon's legacy. Scandalous or no, President Nixon left us with a lot of baggage. Intervening in the war in South Africa, while an arguably honorable decision in the name of helping our allies, has quickly become one of the most controversial moves in recent times. Were to recover our reputation, we must find a way to salvage Nixon's decisions and turn his failures into great successes. War propaganda must be ramped up to further spin the war as a moral duty. Efforts must be made to mitigate bad press we accrue from goings-on in the African bush. For every life lost or man crippled is another stain on our reputation. Ultimately, efforts must be taken out to eke some sort of victory in Africa, even a moral one. South Africa is an affair brought by the actions of Republican Democrats, and only by proving it was the right decision can we prove our loyalty to President Nixon. was not completely foolish.
Keep on attacking.
Okay, you two moving on up there. Fantastic.
Clear, go ahead, over.
You move on up there. You move there. You get ahead and support that. Sweet. Can I encircle you? Boy, I'm gonna try. And I'm gonna succeed. Get encircled, dipshit. Boom. Okay, nice. Hmm. I can cut all of this off.
Move out.
Yeah, I can. You see what I'm doing. It's too late to stop it, though. I see that you see what I'm doing, but it's too late. Polls have been updated. Second Battle of Johannesburg. Yeah, it's just gonna go back and forth for a while. That's okay. I don't need to read that text every time it happens. We're gonna send over a lot of equipment. And I'm gonna gloat right now because I can press forward. You're gonna win that? You don't need support. Yep. This is completely cut off? It is for now. God, these colors are confusing. Wait a minute. No, it's not. These are the Boers. They've swooped in all the way through here. What the fuck happened here? Okay, well, let me sort this out real quick. You go defend that. Now swoop back up there if you can. Sweet. Okay, now they're split in half.
Move out.
Just widen my control here a little bit. Actually, hold up.
Move out.
Double back here. Grab that. And then prepare to push here. Because they sure as fuck are.
Loud, clear, go ahead, over.
How long until you get there? Doesn't say. 1 day and 14 hours. I could defend this. And I could win. Barely, but I'm getting supply and you're not. Fantastic. The African gamble. No matter how one looks at it, the situation in South Africa is a mess. Yeah, the border gore I've committed has definitely contributed to that. Through President Nixon's misguided opportunism, our troops have been sent half a world away to fight and die in a conflict we barely even understand. And the people are understandably growing more and more angry. To back down now, however, would be an act of cowardice from which we would never recover. Instead, we must win back the people by winning the war. We must not only win the war, but win it quickly. If we can minimize the amount of time Americans spend bogged down in this quagmire, we can score a great victory for the United States. We can ride all the way to the polls. President McCormack is already prepared to order American troops fighting in South Africa to steel themselves for an aggressive assault, aiming to cripple the Boers and Nazis as fast as possible. A bold plan which will require equally bold results, and if we fail to provide those results, the voters may never forgive us. I can send the last one. Hell yeah. Okay, great. Last division is on its way. You'll love to see it. You are all cut off, and you're gonna lose organization and supplies from this push. And I'm gonna counter, and I'm gonna eat this bubble, and then go after war goals, because I don't think you'll be able to defend meaningfully after this. Yep, looks about right. Preemptive strike is done. Still working on that. That's ahead of time. Air doctrine still working on. You know what? Let's get better air radar. Our aircraft here, they still doing okay? Yeah, they relocated to a different air base. I'm like, y'all doing all right? Because I did abandon you a little bit. Alright, sweet. Y'all got overrun. Bet you feel real smart now. Go ahead and support that advance. One good turn deserves another. A new genre rises. For American observers, the Adriatic Basin, one half abandoned villages, mottling dry plains, and a brush that roll for miles without end, strikes similar to the long-gone days of their own Wild West. Much like the frontier, Adriatica is rife with outlaws and constabularies, saloons of sin, and banks of marble, and poor settlers caught in the middle as they toil a miserable living out of sand streaked with blood and oil. Never in the present has there been a depiction of this mythical age truer than Italy's youngest province. Italian filmmaker Sergio Leone demonstrated his awareness of such when he released For a Few Dollars More later this year. Featuring up-and-coming Hollywood actor Clint Eastwood as a rough, tough-speaking mercenary, movie brought new life to an old genre, while introducing its old, refreshing themes. Standoffs between lawmen and bandits in desolate mining towns, joined with the ambitions of laconic bounty hunters, long-held grudges, tied together in a captivating plot centered around a heist. Though the film depicted America's Old West, the conflicts it had shown resonated with Italian pioneers seeking their fortunes in their country's new frontier. Despite less than stellar reception from film critics for its over-the-top violence and campy tone, the film nevertheless broke records by reaching $14 million to the film's gross revenue, proving there's a place in the world for now termed spaghetti western in the free world silver screens. Already rumors abound of a sequel, and directors and studios hint of filming their own reimaginings of a bygone era in the very same savannas that evinced its stories in the hearts and minds of millions. Oh, did somebody get overrun? What happened? Oh no. What a shame. Do the Rights Commissariat got a boo-boo? Are they losing tens of thousands of troops? Oh golly. Oh golly gee. Well, how could this have happened? You fuck with the helicopter, you get the blades. That's the game we play here, kiddos. Heck-em-a-bopter time. A question for President McCormack. Good evening, fellow Americans. As part of my goal to bring transparency, openness, and honesty back to the highest office of the land, I'm addressing you tonight from the White House to respond to your concerns and questions. It should be the duty of every president from here on, elected by popular mandate or thrust into office thanks to fate, to make it a custom to have direct and honest conversations with the citizens of the United States to the fullest extent that it's possible without endangering national security. To this end, I will respond to several letters that have been addressed to the White House in the past few weeks, each one being an example of the hundreds of letters, messages, and telegrams that are received here every day. First letter that I will address is from Terrence M. of Dearborn, Michigan, who writes, as many have, regarding the former president. As a proud Republican, I voted for straight RD tickets in 1960, and it still seems unreal that Richard Nixon, who I thought was smart and effective leader, undermined everything he did by his underhanded dealings and corruption, including ties with many officials that now are on trial. How do you justify such a thing? How can I vote for Republicans in 1964? Well, Terrence, I speak for myself, and I hope the entire Republican-Democrat Party when I say, oh, tragedy, there are other issues at home and against other tyranny that we must fight first. Justice? Well, you know, maybe once our guys are in office. Ooh, decisions available. Can I send more guns? Hell yeah. You know, wear yourselves out yet? The war against the fascist menace of a critical importance, declared President McCormack to assembled reporters. But so too are the lives of our men. We want nothing more than bring our boys back home to be with their families once again. This is why we're making efforts to bring this escapade to as swift a conclusion as we possibly can. Confederate Conference was long and grueling. Wild claims were made regarding the war. McCormack promised swift offensive, influxes of support equipment, various dates by which Quilmaine and Luanda would surely be in American hands. They already are. Many other bold suggestions. The reporters asked tough questions. How would this affect the economy? Could soldiers hope to cross vast distances in such a short time? Helicopters. How would such an offensive affect the well-being of the men? Claims flowed freely, and the questions came back even firmer, for what seemed like hours. Afterward, McCormack found himself only able to hope his words would sway a public back. Quick end to the war would not only free the party from the indignity of having declared it, but also allow them to bask in the great victory over fascism that would arise from it. This, of course, rests on whether or not the armed forces could pull off such a victory. It had to work. Home by Christmas. More guns, more fuel, more marching. We can spare no expense if we're to keep our promise and end the war as soon as possible. Our boys on the ground will face a grueling long march into the depths of darkest Africa against the most horrific of foes, but their suffering may not be in vain. The faster we move, the faster our enemies fall. The faster they fall, the sooner we have a great victory parade. Anti-war protesters grow louder, but we must harden our resolve and strengthen our commitment. President McCormack is preparing to authorize a massive influx of supplies and equipment to the troops to keep them marching. Keep fighting, keep winning. No price is too great for victory to be within reach. Our boys will be home by Christmas. They must be. Let us not stop to think about what will happen to the party if they're not. Now, to my knowledge, nothing actually happens if you fail to get them home by Christmas, but, you know, it's nice flavor.
Move out!
All right. Now I'm free to push over here. I'm not going to clean up the Boer mess over here. I'm going to take Southwest Africa out of the war because they have... Oh, God, I don't know how to check how many divisions they have. They have divisions. They have troops that are contributing to the war, and if I can take them out, that's great. Then if I can take out Central Africa, take their troops out, that's great too. Solid MPP campaign, love to see it. And really at this point, especially since I cleared up so much, we can just start knocking them out. Germany restores control over Central Europe. Reichsprotectorate of Bohemia and Moravia, together with the Netherlands, were territories where Germanization proved most successful. When Germany fractured, territories entered a state of political upheaval, but in the end, lands this close to the beating heart of the Reich couldn't be allowed to become a potential threat. As such, it was no surprise when the new government, Germania, decided to quickly move in and seize back important provinces, especially the Netherlands with its trade ports and Bohemia with its industrial core. Its friendly governments in Copenhagen and Amsterdam, total annexation of the Reichsprotectorate, new Führer has secured control over Central Europe. So much for free Bohemia. Okay, you're gonna go Benguela and Luanda. That's fantastic. Let's swoop around here. You're encircled. Great. Go ahead and attack you. Windhoek fell. I will pretend to know where that is and why it matters later. Not gonna lie to you, game. I don't know. I don't need to know. I now have enough troops on the ground that I don't have to pretend to care. Number 4 just showed up. Okay, we can take this fucking town by storm. Sweet. You know,
move out.
I could nab Livingston and get this back in supply. I don't need to do it, but I can do it. That's kind of tempting.
Move out. Move out. Move out. Move out.
Hey, bitch.
Move out.
Welcome back. Okay, yep, got him. See how quick and easy this is? All I had to do was run up to their capital.
Move
It's
out.
so nice when I have multiple troops that are capable of moving this fast. It's so fucking nice. Okay, you're just gonna sweep up the coast. That's great.
Move out.
You get these. Actually, we should go straight for Leopoldville. Where are you going, buddy?
Move out.
Yeah, let's have 2 on this.
Loud and clear. Go ahead. Over. Copy.
Where's their capital relocated to? Up here, probably? Dude, what the fuck are you even doing? Where's your capital? Good question. I can't fucking tell. Oh, it's over here in Salisbury. Okay. I can actually nab that. Hilariously enough. Just gonna swoop through here.
Move out.
Great. Alright. Yep, you know where you're going. Ooh, more missions. Good. They're campaigning things. I don't actually want to send any more guns to South Africa, because I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win at this point. California is still a toss-up. Alright, I'm pushing on California. Really want California. Yeah, Netherlands was annexed and then released, like, immediately for some weird-ass reason. But, Bohemia? Nope. No longer exists. No free Czechia. It's a sad day.
Keep your distance.
Okay, yeah, don't attack through there. They're marching here, so just go around.
Keep on
Nope,
moving.
nope, nope, don't attack.
Move out. Move out.
This is kind of messy. By kind of, I mean this is insanely messy where I have you. 101st Airborne, what are you doing? Okay, we're about to take Salisbury, that's great. 101. Let's get you here. Ewo. You got a Brazzaville. Double back. 82nd Airborne, where are you at? I have you in a holding pattern I really don't want you in.
Move out.
Take this. Sweep in and take that. Boom! Another one dead. Alright, easy. Now it's just Central Africa. Oh my god, it is so nice to have more than one fucking army to do this with. I could do it one division. I was doing a fairly good job with just the one division. But holy shit, is it nice having a proper number of of divisions to take out 3 fucking nations. Alright, was he a crook? This won't go over well with the Southern Dixiecrats, or was he a soul in torment? Now, Nixon boy was a soul in torment. Let's piss off the progressives more. The actions of former President Nixon were unacceptable, of course. But there are still many in the party who respect the man's policies and platforms. A not insignificant portion of the party bureaucrats have suggested Nixon's actions should be formally pardoned and allowed to retire gracefully. Nixon's former allies argued this would allow us to truly wash our hands of him, let us stabilize the party in the critical moment. This would not be popular, however. Nixon's voting base would approve, but pardoning his actions would certainly be condemned by many other groups. Still, bringing Nixon's allies back into the fold would help bring the party together, and the stability of Republican Democrats is paramount for a potential success.
Clear. Go ahead. Over.
Battle of Salisbury? Listen, don't bother me with this shit. I know I've won. Is that hubris, Alex? Yes. Yes, it is. And it's well fucking deserved hubris, if I say so myself. We should have had this war wrapped up a while ago with a fucking bow in it, but my dumbass researched the wrong thing and didn't save up the points necessary to
Loud and clear. Go ahead. Over.
deploy our troops over here as quickly as possible. Instead, I was spending it on things like guns. No. South Africans don't need guns. They need our helicopters to win the war for them. They don't even need to fight the war. Okay, 82nd Airborne, you've taken this. You go here, you go here. 101st.
Move out.
Sweet. Okay, you need a day. There you go. You got an hour. You got your supplies back. Now quit complaining. What more could you want? I've given you moments. Generous moments. Boom. Just that easy. Just that easy. That's how you win a fucking war. The Boer Republic is actually independent again? Oh, guess they took enough of their victory points back. Alright, I'll go clear that up next. Bam. Yep, definitely home by Christmas. Easy peasy. All you need are helicopters on helicopters on helicopters. Boots on the ground? Nah, don't bother. Because this game doesn't care about your ability to actually project power. It just cares about arbitrary control victory points, even though you don't need to have them garrisoned. It's dumb, and I love it.
Move out!
Okay, tell you what, just go balls out on this one, and if we run into problems, we'll change things in the field. How about that? But I'm seriously not at all concerned about the potential problems we'll run into here, or our potential opposition. Take Bloemfontein. Take Sisson. Once Pretoria and Johannesburg fall, that'll be it. Home by Christmas, buddy, we're home by Halloween. Triumph in South Africa. It's official. Africa is free. The Organization of Free Nations has emerged victorious in its fight against the Afrika Shield, crushing 3 Nazi Reichscommissaries that tried to tear a democratic South Africa apart and expand their fascist ideology over all of Africa. President John W. McCormack spoke to the nation from the Oval Office to announce the victory, and that America's brave boys will be returning home as soon as humanly possible. Even as the first chartered Pan Am flights touched down at airports across the eastern seaboard, crowds of thousands filled terminals and parking lots, waving flags, singing the national anthem, and cheering heartwarming scenes of tired soldiers hugging and kissing their young wives and children, snapped by photographers to be shared in newspapers and preserved for eternity. The Secretary of Defense has announced plans to hold a military parade in Washington, D.C. to honor the returned veterans that saved a continent from barbarity and slavery. Now, with the defeat of Nazis in Africa, now comes the long and tough work to rebuild half a continent for a bright and democratic future. War crime trials are to be held to try the captured SFs and Wehrmacht soldiers, as well as the Boer irregulars that caused so much death and destruction. New nations will be set up to allow the people of Africa to make their own destiny. Fully supported, rebuilt by American money and technical expertise, and of course, millions of people. Former slaves, war amputees, orphans, hungry, and sick will all have to be cared for. As will our own troops, who've seen bloody battles and gruesome deeds that few believe humans are even capable of. But that is tomorrow's job. Today we celebrate victory over Nazism, that our brave men and women are coming home. So now, we have a couple of important decisions to make. We are never going to pull out of Africa. I never want to see this again. We're gonna stay. If you pull out of Africa, it's a bad time. And hey, the African Nightmare, we're never going to do any of these because it just feeds a negative feedback loop, and I'm pretty sure this system is entirely broken. So don't ever talk to me or my son again. We don't need to do any of these. Fantastic. Upcoming race. Yeah, we're dealing with that. Fantastic. New research spots available. It's October 1964. Tell you what, start talking about battleship development. Talking about battleships? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's get some edge detection. You know what? No, back off of the battleships for now. Maybe later, but let's just improve our radar capacity for the time being. End of the South African War. Most controversial and significant international conflict since the Second World War, the South African War has now seemingly come to an end. The total collapse of German regimes in Africa. It's a collapse which can only be described as utter chaos. Thousands of German soldiers surrendering en masse to OFN forces, native SS divisions entering open revolt, and several high-ranking German generals taken prisoner. What comes next for the former German territories remains unclear, with no definitive post-war OFN policy having been made public. Whilst OFN commanders and policymakers celebrate the most significant decisive defeat of Nazi forces in history, the alliance now finds itself occupying vast and volatile territory. Early reports suggesting local German administrations have so far largely been kept in place. Peace at last. When we took the brave decision to join in South Africa's defensive war against German aggressors, there were many who claimed that we had entered a pointless war. One where true victory was impossible due to circumstances of the situation. Yet, when the final Reichskommissariat surrendered, their leaders were taken into custody, none could deny the fact that we had achieved overwhelming victory against forces of tyranny. During the war, we discovered the deplorable conditions the native people of Africa were kept in by their German oppressors. Disease and famine were common, regimes cared little for people beyond how much wealth could be extracted before they ran dry. This has to change. Our South African allies have taken administrative control over Namibia, Rhodesia, and southern Mozambique. That leaves vast swaths of land in Central Africa under our control. Keeping the land would be a ridiculous and idiotic idea. However, we must choose whether to establish multiple democratic states in the area or whether to create a single, unified Central African state. Single state. Central African Republic, let's go, baby! Hey, William Westmoreland. You got some severe black market arms trading. Great African clusterfuck. Legacy of Deutsch Africa in an overextended army. Yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We can go back to speed 5. Hallelujah. The first Summer Olympic Games to be held in Asia, the 1964 Summer Olympics, have now concluded. Opening itself up to the world, Japan took every opportunity to showcase its growing technological might. The Games being the first to be telecast internationally, with over 70% of the population viewing Emperor Hirohito officially opened the Games. International admirers have praised Tokyo itself, especially its modernizing efforts crowned with the newly put into service bullet train transporting attendees around the city. The United States claimed its most successes this time around, winning 46 gold medals, followed by the Japanese Empire with 22 and Italy with 18. Noticeably absent from this entry of the Olympic Games were teams from Germany, South Africa, and England, due to ongoing conflicts. What are you talking about? All three of them have won their civil wars, but okay, whatever. Passing of the torch. Oh, no, shit, pause. President McCormack has done all he can with the little time he's been given. A few last-minute campaign speeches and fevered assaults on the opposition might sway the odd voter here or there, but by this point, most people's minds have been made up. As election night draws nigh, all we can do is sit back and hope that it was enough. Whatever happens, the White House must be ready to house its fourth president in 2 years. Preparations must be made for the transfer of power to the next commander-in-chief. For the first time in over 100 years, that man may not bear an R or a D next to his name. Whoever wins the election, we must make sure the handover is as clean and orderly as possible to ensure that the principles and traditions of democracy our nation was founded upon are upheld. The wait is nearly over. Polls are nearly finalized. It's almost time for this historic election season to come to an end. President McCormack and his closest advisors sit in the Oval Office, fingers crossed. Soon comes the moment of truth. Oh hey, where are my planes at? Where are my planes? Where are my planes? Where are my planes at? Where are my planes at? Where are my planes at? Sir, might I inquire as to the location of my planes? I would like to know where my planes are located. Okay. Alright, I'll play this game. U.S. carrier, U.S. carrier, U.S. carrier, U.S. carrier, U.S. carrier. Oh my god, my eyes! It's all the way at the bottom. No, New South Wales. Oh my god, I didn't realize I had planes down here. GTFO. Here's my man's. Swan River. Fuck no, dude. No ace pilots. Just disband. Give presidency, please. Solid NPP campaign. We might have just won California there. Maybe not. But it's November. Just a few days. It's election day. The boys are coming home. As the address from the White House ends, so too does the first major conflict between the US and a major power for the first time in nearly 2 decades. A housewife of a military man, having heard that her husband will indeed be coming home, screeches in delight as her neighbor, having only received her flag for her deceased the day before, stares at the television in a broken torpor. College students put aside their protest placards and megaphones for the day, choosing instead the bottle and the blunt for a day basking in the fruit of their successes, or the unstated delight that they will not be called up anytime soon. Draftees in boot camp continue to curse their fate. Their drill sergeants, a tad quieter, relieved that their service might be a peaceful one. In the Pentagon, planners speak. I never turned on the draft. We're still a volunteer conscription army, but okay, yeah, sure, whatever. Planners quietly vacate their desks for a longer than usual smoke break. Their immediate work mercifully concluded, that is, until the inevitable orders come to prepare for the soldiers' return. And, in the White House, the president receives another briefing, their thoughts unknowable, beneath the facade of a practiced calm. Across America, the nation welcomes the first day after the South African War. Tomorrow, America will grieve the dead and embrace its returning heroes. Coming to terms with the horrors of the war in the Veldt, and its consequences. But until then, let's take a look at production, because I think, yes, finally we're done with these fucking anti-air missiles. So, hey, we're gonna dial that way the fuck back. We're gonna dial up our anti-tank, because apparently I'm in dire need of that. We got plenty of improved transport heckamabopters, so we can dial that way back for now. Damn what? I need 5 more of those? Sounds like a done deal to me, comrade. Yep, you need anti-tank equipment. I've just hurried up the production of said anti-tank equipment. Sounds good to me, bucko. Yeah, Senate elections. How'd they go? Well, you know, we can just click this button and find out. So the Republicans lost 4 seats. Democrats lost 3, the far right lost 1, the center gained 8 fucking seats. It really seems like the mod does a lot of assumptions when it comes to event text. Yeah, it does, but to be fair, there's a lot of things they would need to do checks for, and a lot of variants they would have to create. Honestly, it wouldn't be that hard. It's just a little time consuming. No, I can appreciate why they wouldn't do it, because honestly, it can't. I find it hard to imagine that it's really that popular of a strategy to do the stupid horse shit that I did, with just turn as many divisions as you can into airborne divisions and just your way across Africa. I gotta imagine that's not the way it's intended to go. But, you know, who knows? I sure shit don't. So, hey, we won that, and it looks like... Oh my god. We didn't win the presidency. The NPP did not win the presidency. The Republican Democrats did. We're gonna have Lyndon Johnson be president. Oh no. No. No, I wanted Kennedy. God damn it. Shit. Yep. It's gonna be LBJ. It's gonna be Lyndon Bird Johnson. God damn it. I'm sorry, Robert. I wanted it to be you. I shouldn't have won the war. Probably got the Republican Democrats the support they needed. McCormack had never seen so many numbers in his life. Right now, as the rest of the country headed out to the polls to cast their vote in what might have been the most divisive election in living memory, all he could do was sit and examine the English sheets of paper stacked out on the desk. Newspapers, statistic sheets, communiques from all across the country. The contents of the papers were varied, but each of them had circled particular stats he was looking for. The polls. New York Times said the RD stood a good chance in Iowa. Boston Globe predicted a bloodbath in the NPP's favor. Pollsters in Illinois seemed confident the Republican senator there would keep his seat. But the news from Louisiana was not so encouraging. Endlessly, McCormack gorged himself on poll numbers, feeling his heart sink at every poor showing and subsequently soar at every promising result. Yet he felt himself growing increasingly frustrated as pollsters seemed incapable of agreeing with one another. Final result remained as unclear as ever. The uncertainty made him feel sick to his stomach. He knew he hadn't always made the right choices, and the NPP were stronger now than they had ever been before. Nixon and Kennedy were the reason he was in this mess, yet history would remember him as the man who made or broke the Republican Democrats. Turned out, McCormack, you made them. I was really betting against you, but you did it. As the night wore on and the official vote counts began, McCormack kept his eyelids begin to droop. Resting his head upon a copy of the Washington Post, he felt his thoughts and fears ebb away as sleep finally took him, resigned himself to the knowledge he would wake up to a brand new president, whoever that might be. So this is one of the things I was talking about. I did all the right moves to get the NPP into office, but sometimes it just doesn't fucking work. And that's kind of frustrating. But it's also interesting that the game will give you a little, but not guarantee that you get what you want. I do not know how I feel about it, besides intrigued. McIntyre makes a state visit to Washington. Pennsylvania Avenue was lined with stars and stripes and St. Andrew's crosses this week. Scottish President Robert McIntyre and his wife, Letitia, arrived on an official state visit. Greeted by the U.S. Chief of Protocol at Andrews Air Force Base, the couple has been staying at the Blair House, the official president's guest house, for the duration of their visit. In a ceremony held in the White House lawn, the president welcomed President McIntyre to Washington, remarking he's the first visit by a leader of Scotland in the history of the country. McIntyre thanked the POTUS, hoping that this visit would lead to better relations with America after a complicated and somewhat strained start. McIntyre was then taken to the State Department building for a luncheon hosted by the Vice President. That night was a state dinner, a white tie event held in the state dining room of the White House. Both leaders were in attendance, as well as many notable guests. Frank Sinatra hosted a short half-hour performance afterwards in the East Room. McIntyre will make a speech to a joint meeting of Congress today, as well as visit the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier and host a return dinner in the Scottish Embassy. He's expected to stay longer than the traditional 4 days in order to visit historical locations along the East Coast, such as Mount Vernon, Monticello, and Independence Hall. In remarks to the press, McIntyre expressed enjoyment with this trip so far and feels the bonds between America and Scotland have been strengthened. Let me get through this year. I'm thrilled. I'm pissed that LBJ won, but you know what? It's interesting. It's a twist I wasn't going for. And on some level, you gotta respect it. Bitterly, reluctantly, but you gotta. How much does this cost again? Um, 65. We're almost halfway there. Born in the USA. It seemed as soon as the boat docked at Norfolk, Virginia, port that John Stafford, soldier of the 134th Jayhawk Plains Division, would finally find peace after years of turmoil in South African War. Born to a poor farming couple in central Kansas, learned to drive a tractor when he was only 7 years old. His skill with the rifle came when he crossed the border into Arkansas, began hunting wild hogs, feed his mother and father. When he turned 18, he was faced with the dilemma: either join the army and provide parents a substantial income, or stay on the farm for eternity. Once the recruiters arrived at the farm, Jonathan's parents would not see their son again for another 6 years. Training came and went, and before he knew it, Jonathan's division was sent off to Port Elizabeth. Jayhawk Division, organized in Kansas, was well prepared for the lowly plains of South Africa, but mastering terrain was only one step in the process of combat. Stafford himself was involved in several offensives against the Germans, pulled together several kills, but his involvement ended when he was shot in the shoulder. While he was being taken to cover, an advancing German shot another 2 bullets into his wrist and hand. The wounds were not fatal, and Stafford fully recovered, but much to his chagrin, he was sent back home. Now, Stafford was a very proud American, and he hoped the general public would hail him as a hero who fought for his country, but bluntly, he received the exact opposite. Protesters spat on him, threw dirt in his face, even tried to frame him for murder. Students from Kansas State found his address, attempted to set his parents' farm ablaze, but police arrested them before they could act. Public's response to Stafford's action was possibly even more scarring than his experiences in the war. Yeah, in terms of replayability, especially with how slow it goes, it's agonizing when you're trying to get a specific outcome and you have to plop a save every like 3 months to make sure that all these random events go a certain way. Because there's no console commands for cheating this system. Or maybe there are. Yeah, it's an interesting system, but it doesn't tie into this ideology system. I mean, it does, but it doesn't. This informs this. This does not inform this. So if you use a console command to change your national identity, it doesn't actually change the way that people will vote, which is, it's frustrating, all right, when you're trying to just see what other outcomes there are. Yep. It's December. I would hope that the results were in by now. Yeah. Yep. Presidential election is over. Oh god, I can see the end of November. We've been at this for... Oh god, right. I went offline because internet died. So we're at something like 5 hours now? I see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it looks like not staring at a monitor anymore. I'm thrilled. How many more fucking events are you gonna throw me? I think I just clicked through an event without looking at it. I may have done that. Up. Don't you do this to me again. Last time it gave me 3 fucking events in the last 2 goddamn days. Okay. Here we are. Second to last day. Blessed silence. West Russian Revolutionary Front looking big. Looking chonky. Boom. That's it. Happy New Year. I'm done with this. Done for today. Well, this one, my dude, number 2. Yeah, you know, moving around, eating, having a body, maybe actually looking at the sun occasionally. Crazy stuff, right? Crazy stuff. Oh, yeah, this is such an interesting mod. Mechanically and narratively. Like, I appreciate what they're going for, and I kind of admire it, but I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know if I enjoy it. It's just very interesting. And I know interesting is such a non-committal word, but I honestly can't make up my mind how I feel about it. Which I'm pretty okay with. I'm really pretty okay with that. You know what? One thing I can do before we're done for the day. Hey, Liberia? We don't need that from you anymore. Union of South Africa, we can actually stop trading with you now. So zero me out. And if we do need to trade with anyone, it's going to be with our vassal here in the Central African Republic. Let's just get 15 from them. Delightful. Sweet. I'm not trading with Brazil anymore, am I? Oh, I am. I only need 4, so I can get all of these factories back from Brazil. Sweet. So that'll all be reorganized. Let's go ahead and pop that save. Yeah. I honestly am very interested in checking out the German campaign and Japanese campaign and, you know, look around, see what there is to see. But first I want to finish the American campaign. I kind of want to go in partially blind. I've made it up to 1968, I think. So this isn't completely blind, but it's mostly blind after a certain point. And again, with the variations and randomness, even when you make the same decision twice, the fact that like, oh, 25% chance to do this, 50% chance to do this, 25% chance to do this. There's so much randomness baked into this that you don't ever quite see the exact circumstances play out the exact same way. You can see things be mostly the same, but not exactly the same. That's very interesting. Like, they describe it, a lot of the mechanics as being very much like Vicky 2, especially when, you know, this fucking system. And they're right. It's truly impressive. It's truly impressive, and I may pick on the writing sometimes, the world building a lot of the time, but they got some good shit going on here. But I'm gonna wrap up for today. I've been talking too long and voice is getting all kinds of scratchy. I will be back on tomorrow. Fuck knows what time. You know the drill. I'll probably be on either super late tonight or super early in the morning tomorrow to stream some more mod development stuff. Then I'll be back with some more of this at some point tomorrow. Yeah. Schedule. Listen. We don't do that around here. So until tomorrow, I'm gonna say toodaloo. Take care. I will see you then. Bye bye.